2, 1.
Hi everybody, I'm Ron the Marvelman at themarvelman.com, back again with Mr. Frank Link from Comic Universe in Folsom, Pennsylvania. The man, the myth, the legend. Continuing on with our quota. Coffee book open. We go to the next one. Frank, your favorite comic story or waiting for a collection or a comic book to buy that turned out not to be quite what you thought it was. Maybe some of them stories like The Green Box. Or the Marvel Mystery that the center popped out. Or the guy that came from down south with his favorite treasure edition. Why don't you speak to them? Guests love the stories, Frank.
Wow. Well, let's start with the last one. My first year in business, I had a phone call. We're in Pennsylvania, and I got a phone call from Virginia. And the fellow told me that he had just picked up a new Whiz comic, I believe it was, with the Wonder Woman story, and told me he was all excited and would I be interested in buying it? And I said, wow, yeah. He said, well, how much? And I said, I couldn't tell you. I'd have to see what it looks like. So he told me it was in wonderful shape and described the cover to me. And it sounded like it was in wonderful shape. So I said, well, I'd be interested if you want to come up. Oh, absolutely. So he and his son came up, and they walked in the door, and they put it on my counter, and the book was this big. And I knew by the size of the package it was in, it was an oversized book, and we were in trouble. And when he opened it up, it was a Treasury edition from DC, reprinting the book. The problem was the outer cover, which identified it as that, had been removed, and all you had was the inside original reprinted cover of Whiz Comics, this big. So the man believed, because he didn't have a lot of history in comics, that it was what it said it was. And when I told him it wasn't, he was furious. He thought I was trying to scam him. And so I had to get the Overstreet out, show him the measurement of the book. We measured it. He left still angry, but I think he was more angry at himself than anybody else, because at first I don't think he wanted to hear me say one word, but he thought he had ran into a fortune, and I wished he had. I would have benefited too. So.
Yeah, because back then you were avidly buying collections, correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
A few of my favorites that I like going over, because I tell you, I can't get enough of them. Tell us a little bit about the legendary Green Metal Box.
Well, it's probably a little more dear to Ron's heart because of his association with this. But again, in the first year and a half or so of being open, a gentleman walked in the door with a green metal box. It was kind of like a oversized lunchbox. Very unusual. I've never seen comics put in that. And he came up, and a tall gentleman, and said to me, would you be interested in buying some really good comics? And I said, yeah, sure. So he opened them up and put them out, and they were terrific. They were Journey into Mysteries, Tales of Suspense, many, many books, and all in excellent, excellent condition. So I hadn't been in business too long, and this was a very expensive collection. I went through it, picked out the ones that I thought I liked the most, made him an offer, and bought them. He left with the rest, but I took the majority. And long story short, come to find out many years later that this gentleman had removed these comics from Mr. Porter's residence, and they were actually his. And had taken the comics and brought them in to me, sold them as his, and years later we were talking. Do you want to enhance that a little bit?
Yeah, well, what it was a culmination of books that, what we did is we used to buy comic books in a place called Passaic Comics in North Passaic, New Jersey. And what happened was we used to compile the best books we possibly could in this metal case, little metal box, and we were going to save them in there, and then eventually, get rid of them. Although I put in most of those books because this young stud didn't have too much money. And as the years went by, the metal box disappeared, never to be found again. Until one day I come in to Frank, and he tells me the story about this green metal box. Whoa, what? And yeah, so that's pretty much where some of the most beautiful comics, including FF #1, Tales to Astonish 39, many Journey into Mysteries, on and on and on, all in top condition.
Yes.
And Frank, seen a
you
wonderful
for that.
opportunity and took advantage of that, as I would. And those books today, could you imagine? But anyway, we won't get into that. How about the story, Frank, about the Amazing Fantasy 15 that the gentleman had done by Gerber?
Oh, yes.
How about that little ditty?
Yeah.
This is for all you Spider-Man fans.
Yeah, this was a sad state. A fellow had bought an Amazing Fantasy 15, and the right-hand border of the book where you open it.
Did he buy it from here, Frank?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Yeah, had a lot of Marvel chipping, and it annoyed him. And the condition was, maybe good to very good. So he decided he would send it to Gerber, get it restored. And Gerber looked at it, phoned him back, and said, "I can give you this book back in very fine condition." And he said, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, all right, I'll take it." So the book came back. Long story short, and he brought it in to me, very excited to show me this wonderful book, and it went from this wide to that wide, and maybe a half an inch or more was cut off the entire edge. So Mr. Gerber, instead of restoring it, actually just cut off all the parts of the book, which invaded into the panels of the comic and the story itself. And he didn't seem to pick up on it until I pointed it out, and then he was furious. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Marvel Mystery, does that pop into your mind a little bit?
Another story. A doctor who actually is very close to us here, he was studying to be a doctor at the time, came in, and I had bought this book from a dealer from Renninger's, which was a local large farmer's market. And this man said he had bought it from a customer there, and would I be interested? He phoned me first, brought it in, I looked at it, and it was beautiful, had gloss and everything.
And it was Marvel Mystery number 2,
Number 2.
Okay.
And I put it in my case. The aspiring doctor came in, looked at it, and said, "Oh my God, I'll take it." So, long story short, put it away. And when he came in to pick it up that day, and he opened it to marvel at it, turned the page, and the front cover opened up like a big tongue, just like that. And apparently, it had been amateurishly restored, and it didn't hold. So, it was a sad thing to see. Very much.
Okay, folks, this is Ron the Marvel Man at themarvelman.com with Mr. Frank Link from Comic Universe in Folsom, Pennsylvania. We will be back in a couple minutes to wrap it up.